From the town of Tyngsborough, I'm Roni Camille, and this is Entering Tyngsborough for September 2025. In this episode, we talk about Tyngsborough's sewer and road infrastructure with Jake Swicker and Kathy Kerr from the Department of Public Works.
So we collect sewerage from all different homes and businesses, and then we have IMAs, which is an intermunicipal agreement that we have with Chelmsford, Lowell, and Dracut.
Kathy Kerr, Jake Swicker, welcome to Tyngsborough's Front Porch.
Thank you for having us.
So for residents who may not be familiar with the DPW or the sewer department or the both of you, let's introduce ourselves and how long you've been with the town. Kathy first.
I work for the Tyngsborough Sewer Department. I am the sewer administrator, and I've worked in that department for 9 years and worked for the town for 32.
Jake.
Hello, I'm Jacob Zwicker, the DPW superintendent. I've been here since 2019.
Okay. And for what exactly is a sewer administrator?
So basically, I oversee all of the office work for the sewer department, oversee the enterprise budget, and do the office end of anything that is project related.
So you're not in the field?
I'm not in the field.
Well, we will be talking about the guys that are working in the field.
Yes, yeah. Paul and Doug, yes.
And Jake, your role has evolved. You started out here as a town engineer. And
Yes.
then recently got promoted to DPW director.
DPW superintendent. Yep.
Okay. And what does that entail?
All right, so I first came to Tyngsborough as the Tyngsborough's first engineer. Basically, I built the engineering department with a focus on stormwater, roads, basically all of the infrastructure within the public right-of-way. And then in May 16th, 2024, DPW was created, and from there I kept my role as town engineer, but also oversee all the divisions in DPW.
So this episode, we're going to be talking about Tyngsborough's infrastructure, roads, sewer, things that people have questions about sometimes, but don't really have the answers here, and you guys are going to provide the answers. So how many miles of roads are in town, Jake?
We have 81 miles of roadway.
Public road that you guys are in charge for,
Yep.
but there's more that are that are not owned by the private roads, state-owned roads.
We do have private roads. We have unaccepted roads, paper streets, but the ones that the town is responsible for is the 81 miles.
Got it. Okay. And you mentioned a type of road that we'll talk later. I won't even go into it now. So, how would you describe the current conditions of the roads in town?
About 3 years ago, we did a townwide assessment of all the roadways. I just wrapped up reassessing the roads, about a third of the roads in town, and the pavement condition index, which is a rating that you give basically the condition of the roadway. Townwide, we're about a 70, which is pretty good, and we're looking to, over time, bring that level up.
So this paving index, is it a scale like from 0 to 100, 0 to 1,000?
0 to 100. So 100 being a brand new roadway, and then going down from there.
Got it. Okay. And what's a typical life cycle for a road in town?
Typical life cycle for a brand new roadway is about 25 years.
25 years. And so from your seat, when do you figure out when a road needs to be repaired or maintained or replaced or...
There's a lot of factors that go into that. So basically, there's a whole wide range of roadways and different scales of disrepair, and then there's also a wide range of different treatments. And a lot of times you want to tackle the roadways at a treatment level that is cheaper, but also just as effective. So we basically have broken in our roads program into kind of two different types, where we have a preservation treatment where we're able to spend not as much money as like a full depth reclamation, and we're able to touch upon a lot more miles of roadway, and then we have the roads that are in great disrepair that need to be rebuilt. So we try to tackle both of those types of roadways.
Okay. So walk us through like the whole paving process when you say, all right, this road here, I'm gonna pick a road, Engels Road, which is a recent road that you did, right?
No.
No? Is it on the list?
Nope.
All right. Give me a road that's on the list off the top of your head.
Well, we're going to be going into the Elm Street neighborhood this
Okay.
year.
All right. So you decided, this fiscal year we're going to do the Elm Street neighborhood, right? So walk me through the process from planning to like completion, like the road's done.
So basically, we, like I mentioned, we assess all the roadways, and then we kind of break the roads into a group of roads that are going to be preservation treatment, and I can go into the more detail with that later, and then the full depth reclamation. So
What's that?
full depth reclamation will be a complete redo of the road. So we grind up all the pavement, the subbase, we regrade, we upgrade drainage. So basically, once we're done, you're getting a brand new roadway. But that comes at a much higher cost. So basically, we've assessed all the roadways. We know ballpark what our budget is, and then we run some modeling to come up with different roads programs that fit within our budget. We also look at different projects that are happening in other departments or other utility companies, and then we're able to create different road projects based upon those. There's other factors as well,
Such as?
does the roadway have sidewalks? If it has sidewalks, and if those are in poor condition, we'll look to replace those, but a lot of times that comes at another cost. So basically, it's very heavily focused on cost, but at the same time, we want to try to touch as much road miles as possible and have a very effective roads program each year.
Sure.
So, for example, Elm Street came up on the program, so I end up hiring an survey consultant to survey the roads that we're looking to repair. So this one, Elm Street, Bridget, Oak, and Pine, they surveyed that, and then in-house, I do the design to help keep costs down, and then I put the bid package together, and then we put it out to bid. So tomorrow, actually, we'll be having the bid opening for the Elm Street.
So we're taping this episode in August, middle of August, which will air in September. So by the time this episode comes out, we'll know who the contractor
Yes.
will be.
Yep.
So for anyone who's never been through a bid process, actually, you could chime in too, Kathy. What is that like? It's not like an auction, or is it?
No, so basically, because the price of the project is over $30,000, we have to do sealed bids. So basically, we put together a bid package. It's going to have the front end bid language, and then we're going to have specifications that are specific to the project and different components in the project. Then we have the design plans. Then the different contractors that do want to bid on the project review those and then provide us with construction costs.
And then on bid opening day,
Yep.
you come in, town manager comes in, you have a witness,
Yep.
you got all the contractors in the room, and then you guys do this whole
Yep.
process,
Then
right?
Yep. We open the bids, we go through all the different documents, and then we review the bid numbers and the overall project costs.
And then you don't award, you sort of award right then and there, right? Or no?
We have an apparent low bidder, and then we review all the construction documents, and then we send out the awarding bid.
Got it. So it's like a reverse auction.
I guess so.
What are some of the challenges as far as like maintaining the roads in town that you guys, in the DPW come across?
I mean, one big challenge, and it's probably the biggest one, is cost and funding. I mean, we are limited to a certain amount of funding, so it does limit the amount of roadways that we can repair, but also the engineering department is one person, so I'm only able to do so much work a year as well, unless we,
Sure.
invest into another employee or we hire consultants.
Got it. Okay. And as we're talking like maintenance and upgrades, do seasonal changes, because we live in New England, like, freeze thaw, snow removal, salts, just people driving, like how does that impact, just the way you guys are maintaining the roads in town?
I mean, the freeze thaw cycles, especially what we saw last year with almost 40-degree temperature swings, does have a big impact on the roadways. We had a lot more frosties last year because of that. Once the moisture gets into the road, you start getting large frosties
these
in
bumps,
the crack.
the
Yep.
bumps in the roads and the cracks, and you guys are out, doing the maintenance? Are you guys doing filling potholes? Are you guys doing the crack seal type thing?
Yep, we're trying to fill potholes during the wintertime. And then, sometimes actually the freeze-thaw cycles and what it does to a roadway can change a program, and we might have to add a street because it failed a lot faster due to those reasons.
Got it. You talked about funding sources that the town uses. What are they? I know we talk about Chapter 90 a lot, but for a resident that may not know what exactly it is, can you give us an explanation of what it is?
Yep, Chapter 90 is state aid that we get. We get an allotment. Actually, this year, the governor's budget passed. They added another $100 million to the overall Chapter 90 funding, which is now up to $300 million. So from Chapter 90, the town received about $700,000, and then we got supplemental funding from the Fair Shares Act, and that gave us another $190,000 this year.
Got it. And then any other sources of revenue? That comes
We
in?
do have the marijuana excise tax is another big component to the road funding as well.
That's good. Good. Before we shift gears to go to sewer, I have two more questions for you. What is one thing that you want residents to know about just roads in particular in town? Because it seems like, you get questions a lot. People walk down the hall in our building and, ask about roads. What's that one thing that you'd share with residents?
I guess the one thing would be that maintaining roads it never ends. I mean, you're always you could repave a roadway, it's a brand new road, but then in 5 years you're coming right back to it to do preventative maintenance and try to extend the life of that roadway. So it's just a never-ending project.
Any major road improvement projects in the next 2 to 5, or are you just going to keep with the same cycle?
Yeah, every year we do a roads program, whether it's preservation or a complete replacement.
Anything else you want to add about roads before we shift gears to the rest of DPW?
Nope.
I might come back to you on that. So shifting gears over to the sewer side of things. So
Yes.
Kathy, how big is the sewer network in Tyngsborough?
So we have 17 publicly owned pump stations, and then we have miles and miles of gravity sewer and force main. And all of that is our sewer network, all different homes and businesses. And then we have IMAs, which is an intermunicipal agreement that we have with Chelmsford, Lowell, and Dracut. So basically, we've had to purchase capacity through them in order to send our flow through each of those towns on to the final destination, which is the Lowell Regional Wastewater Utility. So that kind of compromises the whole sewer system. It's how it's collected, how it's sent off, and where it ultimately ends up.
How old is the sewer infrastructure in town?
So it depends on the area of town. Our newest infrastructure is under the Phase 2 sewer project, and that went active in 2021. Prior to that, we did a large project, which was Phase 1 West, and that became active in 2018. And before that, most of it is very old infrastructure, I'd say 25 to 30 years old,
Wow.
scattered around town.
What are the biggest challenges maintaining all this network?
Honestly, the biggest challenges are what residents and businesses put into the system. So we send flyers out and we try to get the word out all the time. You never, never, never want to flush wipes, even if they're sold as flushable. What they do is they ultimately end up clogging up our pumps, causing all kinds of issues at the pump stations. Another thing is you don't want to put fats, oils, and grease into the system because they congeal and they end up building up and narrowing the pipe of what you're sending through. And all of this stuff, not only is it bad for the homeowner's system on their end through their narrow sewer laterals, but it ends up in our main system at our pump stations, and it causes problems with the pump stations and the wet wells. So our guys are dealing with this constantly. We try to get the word out, but that is one of the biggest challenges, honestly, because it causes blockages and clogged pumps and malfunctions in our system that are very costly.
And how big is the sewer department?
The sewer department is 3 people. There's myself, Paul Provencher, who's the senior sewer foreman, and Doug LaTulip, who's our skilled laborer. And they are our field crew. So we have two field sewer department guys who are great at what they do. So they handle everything out there, just the 2 of them, basically.
So to just stress again to residents,
There's only 3 people and 2 are in the field.
2 field guys
Yes.
handling miles and miles of sewer.
That's
in
correct.
the town of Tyngsborough.
Yes.
So there are how many miles of roadway?
81.
81. which means there's probably close to that
there's,
or more.
There's a lot of sewer in town. Yeah, we're not fully sewered, and there are some areas that never will be fully sewered because you need to be in a location that we can then transport it through those towns I mentioned
Sure.
previously. If you're in one of the areas that border Westford or Dunstable, a lot of those areas don't have sewer and probably never will because those other towns don't have it. We can't go through them to transport it.
Got it. So how does the town or your department monitor all these issues?
Yeah.
If there's a clog somewhere.
Yeah, so there's a great system. It's called Mission Communications, and it's a SCADA system. And
What's
basi-
SCADA? Sorry.
So it transmits any issues you're having with your pump station, electrical issues, pump issues, high or low water levels in the wet wells. It takes that information and it sends it off. So the guys on their phone, they can get alarms. They'll get notified if anything is wrong or off with the system. And so that's what they monitor basically off hours. So there's kind of a couple of ways that they realize if something's wrong there. It could either be when they go to do their daily site visits or when they get these alarm calls. And so they rely very heavily on the Mission system. And it like I said, the way Paul puts it, if anything goes wrong at the stations, they'll be notified. Anything's odd, and it gives them a chance to get out there and check it out.
Not to give anybody ideas to listen to this program, but if there is an emergency, like, or you need to do an emergency repair, do a clause.
Yes.
What's the process? Like, they get an alert on their phone and they go out to the
Yeah.
pump station and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know.
So there's kind of two ways, as I was saying. If it's off hours, they get a notification through the Mission system on their phone. If it's during part of their regular rounds, they might notice something that something's off. When it comes to an emergency situation, they're the first line of defense. So the guys will go out and they will assess the situation. And if they feel that it's something they can handle, they will. And if not, we have contracted vendors that are on call 24/7, both pump trucks and a company that handles pump station maintenance. So that is our backup for emergencies. They're on call 24/7, holidays, weekends, everything. So it starts with our sewer personnel, and then if they feel it's needed to call in the vendors, they do.
And for residents, obviously, Tyngsborough, a lot of the residents were on septic, right? And then
Yes.
over time connected to sewer.
Yes.
You guys are still doing tie-ins for either existing people that were on septic
Yes.
or new construction, right?
That's correct.
Can you walk me through that process of how, if somebody were to come into town?
Yes.
What's that
If they were
process?
to come into town and I get a phone call that says, I'm buying a house in town, I want to see if it's connected to sewer, we start that way. We have a list of where the sewer lines are. Also on the town's website, you can go under How Do I, and there's a map geo, just for the public to know this if you're interested. And when you click on that, you put in an address, and then you click the themes for sewer, and it will actually show you where all the sewer lines are in town. It may not tell you if your house has a stub, but it will give you the idea of where these sewer lines are in town. So someone will call and ask if there is sewer available to their property. I'll usually reach out to Paul because he has the master plans that will show where the stub locations are.
What's a stub?
A sewer stub is where you're going to connect from the main line to your house. That's called a sewer lateral, okay? So if a stub is left, if we do a project, when they install the main sewer line in the road, they're leaving stubs for all the properties that will be included in that project.
Got it.
And that stub is where they will connect to our system. So I'll let somebody know that. If they're on an existing, an old line that was not a betterment project, I will just tell them if it's available. I will tell them the prices. I will give them a list of licensed installers because we have a list of any installers who will come to do private connections, but they're bonded with us. They have certificates of insurance with us. We've used them before. We've checked their references. And that's really for the protection of not only what's going into our line, but for the homeowner as well.
Got it. So you can't just go out and say,
No.
well, I'm going to have my cousin, whatever,
Yes.
install this stub or
If-
connect the line.
Yeah, if they wanted to do that, they could become certified with us. There's a process to that. But typically we like to hand out people we've already worked with and know that they do good work.
Got it. Okay. All right. And if homeowners have questions about either sewer or their bills, who they reach out to?
They would reach out to myself in the sewer office, and I'm located in the inspection office at Town Hall. You can either email me at kkayer@tyngsboroughma.gov, or our main sewer email is sewer@tyngsboroughma.gov. I'll get either one of those, or call me. If I'm not in the office, on my voicemail, I always leave the emergency numbers of the two field personnel. So if you ever call off hours or the weekends and there's an emergency, the number's right there when you call.
Got it.
So if I'm not there to answer, you'll have that number as well.
Got it. Okay. You mentioned, you've already answered this, but I'm going to ask this to you. There are no plans to expand. There are some parts of town that will not have sewer ever.
Correct. There are some areas that will never have sewer, but we do have plans in work, 100% complete, for phases 1 East, 3, and 5.
And where is that going to be?
So Sunset Park, which is Lawrence, Gale, Robbins, Rock Road, Makos,
Is that
Christine.
by the lake?
Over near off of Lakeview Ave.
Yes.
That's one area, and then we have Phase 3 and 5 is coming down Frost Road. There's several side streets off of Frost Road, as well as an area off like Old Pawtucket Boulevard, Colony Heights. So all of those areas have just been designed. They're fully 100% designed. And what will allow us to install that sewer is basically making it affordable to the residents. So we're constantly looking for grants out there to lower that cost. And it'll probably be done in pieces and in phases. So we just were told that we have a grant to do the Failing Street pump station upgrade and install sewer on Failing Street. That would be our first phase. It's been included in the federal budget, so once that gets voted upon, then the process would begin that we could start pursuing that grant and going ahead with the work. But everything's shovel ready, as they say it, once your design is done and you're ready to go. And that usually helps you when you're applying for grants to be, they want projects that are ready to start.
So let's say you got approval to go, when will this project be complete?
So once you get approval to go, it's usually several months to a year. You need to, even though you've been given the grant to go ahead, there's a process where you apply for the grant because they're administered by EPA. So you go through EPA, you have a contact that you work with over there. They've been fantastic to work with in the past. And they basically walk with you and work with you throughout that. You send them your budget, your timeline, your descriptions, and they work with you every step of the way. And then you'd put the project out to bid. You'd have your contractors come in, you'd get your low bidder, check that out, award the job, and then it can start right from there. And usually it's broken up in different phases. And we do, like with the grant, there's usually a component where the town matches a portion of that grant. So in our case, that would come from the Sewer Enterprise Fund. And then you usually do like monthly drawdown. So as some of the work's being completed, you do a drawdown, you go through a process through EPA, they give you part of the grant money, you pay the rest with yours, and you work through the project like that. So
Got it. And so with obviously, sewer, you're digging up roads, going back to you, Jake.
Yeah.
Obviously, sewer now falls under DPW.
yes.
How do you guys coordinate these sort of projects where, all right, they're going to be expanding, and then does it match in line with your kind of vision in which, all right, we got to do this road anyway? We're going to be, instead of doing this road here on this part of town, we're going to do this one instead.
Yes, we do. When we look to do a roads program, we do reach out. Like, I'll reach out to Kathy. I have an idea of what the sewer expansion projects look like, so we'll hold off on doing a particular roadway because of that. In the past, for example, when they did the sewer expansion project up Coburn Road, we ended up funding the ability to pave the full width of the roadway instead of doing a patch. So that way we were able to tackle that road and loop it into their project.
Got it. Thank you for that. You just took the question that I had out of my mouth. So how can residents stay informed on the various projects that you guys are both doing?
They can reach out to the town's website. I know the administration office routinely updates the project page. They can reach out to DPW, myself, to Kathy, get an update. They can always stop by. I know I'm working on having a rolling 5-year capital plan, so there'll always be, or my goal is that there'll always be a 5-year plan so you can see what we're paving for roadways.
Okay. You mentioned, and what's the best way for people to reach out if there's an issue, like a road issue or anything?
You can reach out to Jay Zwicker at tyngsborough.ma.gov. You can call the town. Yeah.
Okay. And again, what's the one thing that you wish more residents understood about maintaining either sewer or just, I'm rephrasing it again, that, maintaining the sewer infrastructure or infrastructure overall?
Number one, honestly, is what not to flush. And we have those flyers up on our website. We send them out with all the residential bills, but basically toilet paper only, please, because it causes more problems than you know. It causes more expenses, and we're trying to keep the prices down for everybody. So you're helping your own system, you're helping us, and we appreciate it.
Jake, anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, Jake Zwicker, Kathy Kerr from DPW, thanks so much for joining us.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you for
Ronnie.
having us.
And that will do it for this episode of Entering Tyngsborough. You can learn more about your town's government by visiting the town's website at tyngsboroughma.gov. For the town of Tyngsborough, I'm Ronnie Camille, wishing you the best of goodbyes.